Here's how you beat Art the Clown in Terrifier 3. To beat him, we gotta know what are his weaknesses. Now that's a little tough because he's a demonic, murderous clown that loves killing people for fun. Well, the only weakness we know that can kill Art the Clown is the magical sword that Sienna used to kill him in Terrifier 2. But not everyone has access to that magical sword, so here's how they could have beaten Art the Clown and survived. The first few kills Art gets in the beginning of the movie could have easily been avoided if the husband had just locked the door. But it's too late for that, so now the first person that Art kills could have also been avoided if that kid had just locked his room after he was woken up by his sister earlier. And as for his parents, they also could have locked their room. Does anyone in this family lock any door? They're just asking to get murdered. The father's death was pretty much unavoidable. There's not much you can do while you're sleeping. The wife, instead of just staring at Art for a little too long, she should have immediately grabbed her phone and ran downstairs calling the police while running. Now she apparently doesn't know how to open doors because she takes a little too long trying to open the front door, and she gets axed in the back by Art and gets her arm chopped off and head bashed with the axe. If she hadn't taken so long trying to open the door and only tried to go out the back as soon as she realized she couldn't open the front door, she might have survived. Later, while Art is washing the dishes, he hears a noise coming from the kitchen cabinet. He opens it and finds a little girl hiding in there. They don't show the kill, but it's insinuated that he killed her. In that situation, all you have to do is be as quiet as a mouse and stiff as a board to survive, but she failed, so she died. That's how the whole family could have avoided the massacre. As for Chris Jericho, who plays a security guard, to survive, he should have immediately called for backup on his walkie as soon as he saw Victoria eat the nurse's body. He actually does call for backup earlier, but only before he gets to the room. But if he had told the other guard that a murder had taken place, then the other guard would have come faster. If he had done that, he could have survived. Later in the movie, two contractors who visit a home that Art and Victoria stay, they could have survived if they had called 911 as soon as they found Art the Clown and Victoria's body. Instead, one guy was trying to take pictures of Victoria and the other guy was inspecting Art just for curiosity, I guess. The man taking pictures of Victoria, instead of screaming out the other guy to get down, he could have given him more information. He could have said like, hey, I found a dead body, we gotta leave and call the police. Then the other guy would have immediately left Art alone and could have survived. But no, they were being idiots and being nosy and got killed because of that. Also, I think it's part of their job to immediately report a dead body to the authorities. So they kind of got what they deserved. The next three men to be killed by Art the Clown are hanging out at a bar. This one could have gone multiple ways. The bartender should have immediately asked Art to leave when he came into the bar because he was carrying around a large garbage bag. You are not allowed to bring in a large bag full of undisclosed items. Try going into a bar with a large bag filled with knives and other weapons. See how long you last in that bar without being escorted. But instead, they all die. What the bartender also should have done was to keep an eye every time Art digs into the bag. Never lose sight of Art because he gets shot by surprise and the other men just stood there watching. They should have immediately ran away as soon as the bartender got shot. Instead, they just stood there and Clint Howard was holding a stick, like if that stick could help save you from a gun. As for Santa, when Art got close to him with a gun, he could have overpowered Art because he's much bigger than him and it's much easier to disarm someone with a gun when they are that close to you. But he didn't want to risk it, so instead he got tied up and got liquid nitrogen sprayed on his face and got his head smashed with a hammer. For the next victims, when Art snuck into the mall and pretended to be Santa and all the kids gathered around him, they all could have survived if the parents did their job and take their kids away from Art. One parent even tells an elf worker that her child is creeped out by Art, and the worker responds to her that Art does not work there. The mom should have grabbed her child right away, as well as tell all the other parents to grab their children and flee. But the parents did nothing, and it's their fault their children died. Now for the shower scene, everyone knows about the shower scene, and they might have been able to survive this one, but it would have been a little hard. Let me explain. Okay, so when the couple are in the shower getting it on, the girl hears a strange noise and ignores it. She should have immediately asked her boyfriend to investigate the noise, but she didn't. If she had, they would have seen Art the Clown revving up his chainsaw and could have ran away. But because they were all wet, they might have fallen trying to run through the showers and died regardless. But it's always worth it to try if your life is at stake. Instead, she ignores the noise and gets brutally killed by Art the Clown with a chainsaw, and her boyfriend gets every part of his body cut off. Sure, they might have fallen trying to run away, but maybe one of them could have made it out and called for help. Always investigate strange noises you hear. Uncle Greg's death was not shown, but could have also been prevented if when Greg called Jonathan on the phone and heard a strange noise at the end, he could have called Sienna and told her he called her brother and his voice sounded strange, and she would have immediately told him to leave the area and return home because it was unsafe there. Jessica's death is pretty hard to avoid because she's strapped to the chair. If she did somehow manage to free herself from the chair, Art and Victoria would have stopped her immediately after, so not much you can do there. As for Jonathan's kill, they also didn't show it. All we see is his head with skin eaten off by the rats. Some people believe Jonathan is still alive because they didn't show us the kill. I don't think so, because when Greg was calling Jonathan, he was actually talking to Victoria, who was mimicking Jonathan's voice, and the only way Victoria could get a hold of Jonathan's phone is to essentially kill him. But let me know your theories down below. Later, when Sienna is fighting Art, she stabs him really good and deep in his torso, but she removes the sword to help Abby. But why did she remove the sword? She could have left the sword in there to keep Art from running away. She could have also removed the sword fast and immediately stabbed him deep in the head or chopped it off. She could have done that really fast and also make it in time to try and save Abby. But instead, she lets Art get away and also wasn't able to save Abby from falling into the portal. Comment how you think you could have survived and beaten Art the Clown in Terrifier 3. Watch the Terrifier 3 kill count if you haven't already.